All right, here to share her recipe today is Kennedy Rose, also known as Cozy.Games on social media. Kennedy wears multiple hats as a former lawyer turned full-time gaming and lifestyle content creator with a unique focus, which I love, infusing coziness into every area of life. Her community has enthusiastically popularized the concept of the cozy gamer, and Kennedy, you are on a mission to grow that welcoming community. So, it was 2022, right? You transitioned from a lawyer to a full-time content creator. And I was just looking at some of your content over the last few weeks with my daughter, who's 12 and is a gamer, and she is so excited that I get to talk to you today. So I had to plug that for her. They're big fans, big gamers in general. Both of my kids are. So I'm excited for them and for everyone else listening to get to know a little bit more about you and understand more about what you, Kennedy, have in common with Taco Bell. So welcome officially to the podcast.
You. So excited to be here.
Great. So I have lots of questions as usual, but before I jump in, why don't you just give us a little overview of your background? Tell us who you are.
I'm Kennedy. I grew up in Southern California, Thousand Oaks specifically, and I've always been a gamer. My family was really into like collecting old retro consoles. Well, I guess at the time they weren't really retro, but they collected consoles, and so my brother and I were always around gaming growing up, and it was always kind of this family thing, and so it always...
Did you play with your parents?
Yeah, we played with our parents. We would watch our parents play like before we even knew how to work a controller.
Yeah.
And there was always just kind of this magic to it. Like they'd play old Mario games and like know all the secrets, and then it was very cool. And then my brother and I always bonded over gaming growing up. So gaming's always been a part of my life. And throughout high school, throughout college, throughout law school, I always leaned back on it to just have that moment to myself and kind of unwind. And so I've always sought out games that were a little more calm and cozy and, not as competitive because I always use it to unwind. And so that's my history with gaming. And I recently moved back to LA and am loving it.
Great.
And I also am obsessed with Taco Bell, and everyone in my community knows it. And
Great.
We always talk about it. So
that's great. We will get to hear more about that. So before we jump into what you're focused on now, sorry, I'm going off script. It's easy because you're just going to talk about yourself. It'll be fine. I would love to understand just a little bit more about what pushed you to make some of the moves that you did. So let's even go back to, if you're okay with it, college, because you went to Howard, far away from home. Yeah. Talk to us about that decision. What made you decide to do that?
Well, I grew up in a very, let's say, homogenous town where I felt a little different, like mixed girl growing up around people that don't look like me. And so my decision to go to Howard was very much like, I want to learn more about like this other half of my community that I just haven't engaged with. And it was the best decision I ever made. And I feel like I just like learned so much about myself, learned who I was, learned to love myself in different ways, and also got that space away to just like venture out, be independent, and
kind of come into your own.
And DC was really cool. I love DC.
Did you find a gaming community in college?
I did not. Actually, no, a little bit I did. Yeah, my friends and I would play Smash. We played Super Smash sometimes, but it wasn't kind of till the later college years. Most of the time I was more solo Sims time. And I would use it just to kind of relax.
That is 1,000% where my 12-year-old daughter is right now. It's solo Sims time. She came home from a volleyball tournament Saturday all day. First thing she said when we walked in the door, taking a shower, and I'm playing Sims. And leave me alone. So well, good for you. Okay, so you finished Howard, and you decided to go to law school.
Yes, I did.
And you went to UC Berkeley,
Yes.
Okay, so tell us about that decision. What made you decide you wanted to pursue that?
Well, I think it was kind of always my plan.
Yeah?
It wasn't necessarily like, I don't know, it was just like the plan that I had for myself. I was like, I know I'm good at reading and I'm good at writing. And I think those skills are great for being a lawyer. And I also really liked advocating for people, and whether that was, just like a client, a customer. I always worked in like customer service growing up. And I just knew my skills were good.
It was going to make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So law school, how was it?
Law school, it was rough. I always say it was like some of the best and the worst times of my life.
Yeah.
But it was such a humbling experience.
Okay.
And it also was the time when I learned just how important having a hobby can be for creating work life or school life, academia life balance.
Yeah.
And really having something that you can escape to in a healthy way.
Sure.
That helps like regulate stress and emotions. Like that was a time when it really, really became clear to me, like, oh, this is
a thing for me.
This is a thing for me, and it's important, and it's not just something that is kind of a throwaway thing or something that's like a waste of time or something like that.
Right.
You know?
Oh, well, I love the perspective that you have on it, because I think so often it can be viewed like negative. Oh, get off from in front of the screen. But and maybe I let my kids on screen so much. I don't know. But I do know that it is a thing for them.
Yeah.
And it like gives them such joy.
Yeah.
So I'm curious. You were a practicing lawyer, and you were doing Cozy.Games on the side, right?
Yeah.
So talk to us a bit about, how you made that transition. What made you decide to do that? That was probably not an easy decision, having gone through law school.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was not. I was doing content creation from the very last year of law school through like studying for the bar, through that first year of being at my firm. And it was a lot to balance, but I think also having this other passion project that I could pour everything into made me feel like my whole life wasn't just corporate life.
It's not like singular, like you have the one thing. Yeah.
And so I think I was overall a little bit more fulfilled than I think some of my peers, because there is this kind of dynamic of you leave your undergrad, you leave grad school, and you go into your corporate job, and you're like, what am I doing this is what for? You do. Yeah, right. Who am I? So it was nice to, yes, I was grappling with that, but then I had this passion project, this gaming, that I could pour my all into, and it was like, it was so special. I felt fulfilled in my purpose in life.
Sure.
But eventually balancing the two became too much. It was like two full-time jobs.
Yeah. We talk a lot at Taco Bell, or I talk a lot about how Taco Bell is a great job. It's a fun place to work. And I hope that people who work at Taco Bell have other things in their life that like fill their cup and give them joy, because you want them to be multidimensional, because you need that outlet and you need those personal hobbies and interests.
Absolutely.
How did you decide, talk to me a little bit about you making the switch full-time to content creation and gaming? Like, what was going through your head?
Yeah.
Did you find, the name of our podcast, right, is like Restless Creativity. Did you find that you were restless?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah?
I think I felt this limit. Like, I couldn't do everything that I wanted to do because I just didn't have the time.
Yeah.
Corporate law is wild. They expect like 70 to 80 hours from you a week.
We don't do that at Taco Bell, though.
No, yeah.
But in a law firm, yes.
Law firms, yeah. And yeah, it was just, it was a lot. And I felt like there was so much I wanted to do. And I was so excited to do all these things. But then I would not be able to, I would have to like work on a deal till 12 a.m. or, and I just didn't have the time.
Okay.
And so it was that point where I felt like I can both sustain myself on content creation alone, and I just don't have the time to bring this to the next level. That's when I felt comfortable making. I didn't feel comfortable, but that's when I knew I could make the jump and should make the jump.
Good for you. That took a lot of courage, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. What did your parents think about that?
Very supportive. Yeah.
Oh,
my mom was
great.
like, whatever makes you happy.
That's
and
great.
she was also like, okay, but are you sure you're making enough? And I'm like, yes, I'm fine. She's like, okay, then yeah.
Okay, great. As long as you're stable and secure, that's great.
Yeah.
So there's so many young people out there that, would want to become YouTubers when they grow up. That's what they say, right? Or they want to become content creators. And so now that that's been your full-time role for a couple of years, can you talk us through what a typical day looks like for you? I've read before kind of what your typical day looks like. It's fascinating.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
I think even it's become so much more complicated, even from kind of the early days.
Really?
It's a lot. It's a lot of moving pieces, but it's so much fun because it's always, not always, but most of the time it's something that you're excited about.
Okay.
And I think that is the goal. If that is what, a kid, if their dream is like, I want to be a content creator, I think the follow-up question should be why and like of what? Like what is the underlying passion under the content creating? Because if you don't have that, it's just another job. Like it's just going to be working at a desk. You're editing at a desk for hours and hours and hours. You're editing on your phone for hours and hours. You're setting up scripts and you're researching. And there's so much to it that, yes, it can be fun because it's, you're in the public and you could talk about whatever you want to talk about. But you do have to have like that really strong passion for the actual.
Yeah, because it's still, it's hard work, right? Yeah. So I was reading that, you have your morning routine and all these different things that you do to get set up for then what becomes hours of streaming for basically the back half of the day, right?
Yeah.
Is that how it works?
Yeah, I think it's a little different now because I only stream 2 times a day.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
2 times a week?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because I've found that it's just more, my time is better spent elsewhere.
Okay.
And so now it's a lot of like filming for YouTube, filming for short form because I do like 4 to 5 short form videos a week.
Okay.
And so a lot of planning for those, filming for those, editing for those, and then like 50% of my work per day is also just like admin work. It's just kind of like at the computer, just like talking to my managers and like ideating and scripting and emails and things like that.
That's great.
So,
That's great. And how do you keep your content fresh? Like we're all about creativity here at Taco Bell. So how do you keep your creative juices flowing? How do you keep thinking about what's next and new for you?
I think I'm always trying to touch back into what's exciting me because I think as a content creator, you can often fall into other people are doing this and that's working for them. And should I be doing that because it's working for them so well? And then you try it and you're like, I didn't like that.
Yeah, that's not your thing.
I don't know. That just didn't land for me or my audience because they could tell it wasn't something that I was actually excited about. I was just kind of doing it because I thought it would do well. So I always try to think about what's actually exciting me and like what lights my fire and, things like that. And sometimes it's hard because sometimes you're like, I don't know. Like, I don't feel like talking about anything right now.
Right.
So sometimes it's also just being honest and just kind of being genuine. And sometimes that's just like my YouTube video for the week is I'm just sitting around the house.
Yeah. And being okay with that. Yeah. That's great. I love that. And I love that your content, like, you're even multidimensional in all of your content too, right? Because sure, there's gaming, but then there's reading, there's crafting, there's other hobbies that you have, and I love that you kind of have a wide spectrum of different things that you're showing your viewers, which is really cool.
Yeah, and I think that evolved too because I started out only doing gaming because I was like, well, this is what I started making content for. So this is the only thing I could talk about. Because clearly that's all people care about. And then I eventually became more confident in the fact that people are interested in just what I have to put out there in general. And then also there's a huge interest in just like hobbies in general. And so that was exciting to also be able to bring in other areas of my interests.
Yeah, it's very cool. So let's talk about Cozy.Games because that's a whole situation, admittedly, that I was not familiar with. And so I had to go do a little bit of research, but I would love to hear you talk about like what is this concept of Cozy Gaming?
Well, Cozy Gaming was very community based and community originated. Cozy Games, like the concept of like a casual, wholesome, or cozy game has always existed, but the name Cozy Game and the identity of Cozy Gamer was community originated and community based. Kind of around 2021, I think.
When we were all stuck at home.
Yeah. And we all were kind of just like, we like games that make us feel cozy and don't stress us out, It was after Animal Crossing, we were like, we've got something here. Like, this is real nice. We could just decorate a town and talk to villagers. There's either no combat or very low stakes combat, or it's like just farming. It's just having a good time, and that's really unique in the gaming space. Less so now, I think, now that Cozy Games are popular.
Yeah.
There's way more coming out, but at the start of it, there was like, I don't know, maybe
Just a
5.
handful.
Yeah, a handful a year. And so we were always so excited. We were like, yes.
More new
Yeah,
games.
exactly,
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay, so you have amassed quite the following online. So talk to me a little bit and for the listeners, how did you start to carve out your own community? And how do you maintain and evolve that community?
Yeah, I think it was being very true to myself, which sounds very corny, but
No,
it was, you
yeah.
know, like when you are the most you and the most genuine to yourself and you're showing the pieces of yourself that you're like, I don't know, I'm not seeing this anywhere else, but I'm going to share it. That's when people resonate with you the most because they're like, wait, I feel this way too. And nobody else is showing this side of gaming, or like, I just resonate with the fact that you're being open and honest and vulnerable. And so I think it is being yourself and being true to your interests. Because a lot of the time there's things and dynamics that will come out of that in your content that are new. Like the whole Cozy Gaming thing, it was just like us creators who were like, I'm not seeing this anywhere in the gaming space, but this is how I game. And then everyone was like, oh yeah, same.
Me too.
Yeah. And
Right?
so I think being honest creates this originality that people are looking for.
That's
really.
great.
Yeah.
We talk also a lot. I talk about courage quite a bit, right? I love courageous people. I love it when people will step out and speak up about something or kind of lean into their authenticity. And so you've mentioned a couple of different things, right? In terms of, moving far away from home for college, right? Because you wanted a certain experience, or deciding to go to law school and then deciding to leave your role as a lawyer and becoming a content creator. So, and then even within your community. So I'm curious, and again, I'm going off script, so sorry, but I can't help it. Tell me, where do you think that courage is coming from? Like, why do you think you've got the confidence to be able to step out there, and what message would you have for other people that are looking to do that?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I've just always been a little delusional, and I think that's required. I think it's necessary, and I think it's a good thing. Like, I have always been, not always, but I've learned to be okay with failure and welcome failure. And I know that's like a very common thing to say, but it's so true. Like, it's one of those things. I remember watching TED Talks growing up of people talking about like, don't be afraid of failure. Go towards the things that scare you. And I would be like, okay, yeah, sure. But I never knew what situations those would apply to, I guess, until I was in them. And I had to just be like, okay, am I leaving this job? I don't know, I can't be afraid of failure. And so it was really implementing those lessons that you always hear of, like, run towards failure, because those are the times when you learn, and those are the times when you can really see what it is that matters to you the most, I think.
Yeah.
And I think it's so important, because when you do fail, you learn good things and bad things. You learn like what you shouldn't do again in the future, and then you learn what did work or what did resonate with you, and it's just necessary to grow and do scary things.
Yeah. Do you ever look back on any of your old content and think, oh my God, what was I thinking?
All the time. Yeah, all the time, which is another thing. I have a lot of people ask, like, how do you get over the fear of, like, putting yourself out there? How do you get over the fear
there's
of, like,
a lot of mean people out there.
Yeah, or like, I'm not good enough yet. I don't know how to edit yet. I don't whatever. And it's like, you just won't. You have to just do it. You have to start putting yourself out there. You have to be ready for being perceived in ways that you can't control. Yeah. And you just have to do it. You have to do it, and then you learn as you go. Yeah. And that's just how it is. My old content is so bad. It's so bad. But, like, I look back at it,
something was working. You're doing just fine now. Yeah. When you think about the community that you have, amassed online and in life, what is your goal for that community? Do you have a goal for the community?
I think just to continue to reach people who don't feel like they have a space in certain communities, or maybe don't feel like they know how to prioritize themselves in their lives. I think my goal has become broader as the years have gone on. At first, it kind of started with just the gaming space, and I was like, I really want to create this space for women in gaming, or just like not men in gaming, who want to feel safe and want to feel welcomed and feel like, oh yeah, that's how I game and I relate to that, and now there's a space for me. So now I feel like I can game, or now I feel like I can get my friends into gaming, or now I feel like I can talk about gaming and it's not looked down upon, or now I feel like I can do gaming content creation because I'm seeing other people do it. Like, that was always my goal starting out. And then now it's kind of become this broader thing of like, I want that, obviously that, and then I want to be the person who's giving people permission to like prioritize themselves, prioritize their hobbies, prioritize their interests, because there's so many people that just don't feel like they have the permission to do that. You know, like parents, people who are kind of workaholics like I am. It's okay, I get it. Like, sometimes we just need that permission to spend the time doing things that we love instead of just like hyper productivity.
Yeah, like your work and your work has, I can hear it as you talk about it, has such purpose, right? And it really fuels you, which is amazing. So I mentioned there's mean people out there, right? There's the internet can be a little negative. There can be a lot of trolls out there. So how do you try to ensure that your community remains a safe place for people?
Yeah, I think I've been really lucky in that my community is so kind. Like, you don't really get a lot of angry trolls in a very cozy, cozy hobby, cozy gaming space. Yeah, like they're just, it's so rare. And when they do come in, I'm like, block.
Yeah, like, just no time for it.
Nobody needs that. Yeah. But yeah, I think people just feel comfortable and safe and don't feel the need to be mean, which is really, I'm just lucky in that way.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Okay, so let's talk just a little bit about Taco Bell. So you've collaborated with quite a few brands, including Taco Bell previously. And so when you're deciding which brands that you want to work with, what are you considering? What are all the factors you're considering to make sure that you're an authentic person? I can tell, right? How do you make sure that carries through in any of the brand partnerships that you do?
Yeah, I am always making sure that I'm picking a brand that both I obviously genuinely love and use often or eat often, and also like one that my community knows that I love and use often, because then it's just going to feel organic, because it is, it's, I never want it to be like, this is the first time I'm hearing you talk about Taco Bell, but I talk about Taco Bell all the time. And so when I did do the Taco Bell partnership, people were like, yes,
they were excited
finally.
for you.
So I love that. I love being able to like share in wins with my community. And so I love accepting and choosing partnerships that kind of align with that.
Sure.
And also that means saying no to a lot.
It does it. Yeah. That's got to be hard too, though, and also takes some courage. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Because then you just have to have that abundance mindset where you're like, there's always going to be something else. And there's going to be something that's going to come in. That's fine.
And I don't.
Like, it's not worth the dock in trust for my community, or just like ideologically, maybe we don't align as brands,
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. What is it about Taco Bell that you love so much?
It's just so yummy. I literally have it at least once a week, if not twice a week.
Okay.
And it's like everybody in my house knows. It's like, is it time? Do you want me to order the Taco Bell? Everyone knows my order.
It's time.
I just love it. And it's always quick. Like, there's always one right by my house, and maybe that's a coincidence, maybe it's not. But it's quick, and then it's just so good.
Crave it. Yeah, we talk about craveability a lot. Yeah, we all are kind of obsessed with it. I have another Taco Bell question for you that I'm going to save to the very end. So let me get some advice from you, if I can. So you've clearly done an incredible job building this community, and I do believe that like we're not meant to be alone. We're not meant to do life alone, right? Yes, we need our alone time. I know I need my alone time, but we're meant to be in community with people. And so what advice do you have for me in terms of kind of fostering a community at Taco Bell? And are there other people out there that are focused on authentically engaging with their community that have, you've noticed?
I think it's important to create community by like listening to the community, because the times I feel like I've progressed my community or like strengthened the actual community connection between like me and the community is when I've listened to like why they show up.
Yeah.
When I like ask and listen to why they show up, like the comments I get on YouTube or whatever that are like, I love this. I'm like, cool, that's great. I'm happy. That makes me happy, but it doesn't like tell me anything that can help me give back to the community or connect with the community anymore. It's the comments that are like, I come here for an escape, or I come here for XYZ reason. I put this on when I'm cleaning my house. I put this on because it feels like FaceTiming a friend. Like those comments tell me kind of my role as a creator,
they go
and like
a little bit
how
deeper.
to show up.
And how you're connecting with them.
Absolutely, yeah. And so I think asking the community, why do you show up here? Like, why are you here? Why are you here on this platform? Why are you here on this platform? What do you get from me out of this? I think that really helps create community because you know how you can better provide that for them. And it's also just like honoring the community's needs. If you're like not listening to the community, then you're like giving things you think are good for the community, but actually it's not resonating with anybody.
Yeah. It's always fun to me to go out into our restaurants and have like a round table, right? And hear from the teams. We were just in one last week about what's working in the restaurant, what's not working in the restaurant, and then, taking the feedback and actually doing something with it, right? So that they want to continue to give you the feedback. So I was going to ask you, but it sounds like you do. You frequently are asking, like, what did you think about this content? Or you're getting ideas from the community. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. And then knowing when to discard the comments that don't.
Yeah, right. Block.
Yeah.
Block or delete, right? Okay, so you mentioned earlier that one of the reasons that you thought about going, into gaming and content creation was to appeal to an audience, whether it's women, men, that are not necessarily playing Fortnite every day. That's definitely my 9-year-old son. And my daughter will play, but like she is drawn more towards the cozy games like you're talking about. So talk to me a bit about that, passion point of yours. What were you trying to accomplish there?
Definitely making sure that people feel seen. Okay. Because for so long, it was just like, this is what gaming is. It's men shooting things. Yeah. It's true. That is what gaming is. Yeah. Yes. But then there's also the people playing Sims and the people playing Animal Crossing and Harvest Moon and all the farming sims. Like, that exists, and that's just not ever shown. And so I think all of the people who do play cozy games and more casual games just kind of felt like, okay, maybe I'm not a gamer, or just like there's kind of no one to talk to about this, so I'm just going to play it by myself. And so my goal was always just wanting to create a space where people are like, oh, that is me. Yeah, and like
that connects with me.
Yeah, that connects with me. That's my identity. Now I have an identifier, Cozy Gamer, and that is just so special to me, especially in such a male-dominated space.
I love it. I love it. Are there other women out there doing what you're doing in the spaces? Who are some of the folks that you connect with?
Even more now too, which is that's great. Part of what makes me so happy about it is
it's like you started a movement. You were part of it.
We're definitely part of like it's so good to see because there were so few of us in the beginning, and now because we carved this space out in the gaming world, there's so many people that just feel confident stepping into that role and like feeling confident like they can have a voice and they can say something about it. And they can have an opinion on a game, and no one's going to be like, shut up. So I love it. Yeah, there's a lot of great. Iona on YouTube is a fantastic one. Gamer Girl Gail on Instagram and TikTok, amazing. They're some of my favorites.
That's awesome. Any advice for young women in particular who are looking to enter into content creation, gaming, whatever it may be?
I would say definitely find your niche and find your community of people first that you will feel safe. And like you don't have to feel like you have to fit yourself into a space that doesn't want you or doesn't accept you or won't be kind to you. You don't have to do that. I think a couple years back that was kind of the only option, and women were like so brave. I don't know how they were just like, all right, I'm stepping into this, competitive kind of a little bit more toxic space. But now there are definitely niches where that's not necessary, and so starting there, and then maybe you can get your confidence there, and then branch out as you grow.
Start slow and kind of build as you learn, and that's awesome. Okay, so here is the toughest question of the entire podcast. Are you ready?
Yeah.
What is your all-time favorite go-to Taco Bell menu item?
Okay, this is actually very easy for me, and I'm so glad that it is. It is the grilled cheese burrito.
Oh, yes.
Oh, my gosh.
Okay.
I will go to bat for that for the rest of my life. I love that thing. It's the best. Yep.
That's
And I
great.
get it with the creamy jalapeno sauce added.
Oh, nice. So when you order it once a week, that's your family, you said, knows your entire, they know your order.
Yep, it's that.
no
And then I
questions asked.
also get the stacker now because I love the stacker.
Nice.
It's really good.
Nice, from the value menu, yeah. Oh, excellent.
Yep.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
joining us today. It's been so much fun to learn about your world, and I'm going to pay even more attention now.
Yay.
And I love what you're doing just for people in content creation and gaming, especially girls, right, who are looking to kind of branch into that space. I think about my own daughter and, like I said, what she's really into.
Yeah.
And whether you realize it or not, you probably do, but just in case you need to be reminded, you're setting such a great example for other folks out there. So thank you again, and thanks for being such a huge fan of Taco Bell.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
All right. Okay, that's all from me today. To keep getting the scoop on all things Taco Bell, make sure you subscribe, and if you want even more information on Taco Bell, follow me and our Taco Bell account on LinkedIn. Thanks.